It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. If you haven't already, pause this podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and review. It helps us out a whole lot, helps us go up in the rankings, helps us to reach more people. And you also get a shout out if you leave a review. So I look forward to hearing from you. Here with me, I have Jamiel Strickland and Eric Friday, who was actually on episode 27, AKA the Monopoly Bros. Really appreciate you two coming on the show. Can't wait to get into it.
Hey man, glad for sure. Excited about this one, man.
Definitely. So let's jump right into it. You two recently, well, I guess not so recently, completed a pretty big transaction. You two purchased a 52-unit property in Michigan. And so I would love to just get into that. Like, how did that even come about? Talk to us about it.
Go ahead, Jamiel.
There, go ahead.
I said, go ahead, Jamiel. So I mean, how much time do we have? I guess.
You got
I mean, the kind of the long story, not as long, was that we both were on our own real estate journeys within real estate, and we both, in starting that journey within real estate, we had a certain idea of what our end goal, or maybe not end goal, but where we at least wanted to get as our big goal was, and that was multifamily apartment buildings. So we both started wholesaling, and then we transitioned to buying and flipping, and then we transitioned to buying and holding single families, and then transitioned to buying and holding 1 to 4 units. And it didn't happen like that exactly, but that was always the plan, to do all 4 facets before moving into like a 5+ unit multifamily commercial building. So our journey was that, and eventually we had did that. We had did all 4 of those steps, and it was like, all right, now it's time to move into, our bigger goals. So I was searching for things to get me to that point. So I joined a real estate group, multifamily real estate group that was focused on that. And in the midst of all that, Jamiel and I were always in conversations about, buying and acquiring these multifamily properties. I joined this group. They end up having an event that they allowed us to bring a guest. The first person I thought about to bring to this event was Jamiel, because he and I were, like I say, on this wavelength of multifamily properties. We go to the event. It's a great time. It's a great turnout. We're talking to all these investors, and even people that aren't really investing in real estate. They're just looking to transition maybe into this field, just like we were looking to acquire our first deal. Talking to them, we're talking to people who are established, who have $1 million portfolios. He and I know the owner of the group. Shout out to David Tupin, who is the owner of this group. Jamiel had a close relationship than I did. I had met him prior, but Jamiel and David had a more established relationship. So we had that going for us. And then we're just, we're networking and talking, and we're talking to people, and they're talking about their deals and how they acquire 20 units, 5 units, 30 units, 40. And like after we always tell the story, like after the first or second day, we were like, I'm ready to get back home. I'm ready to get back to doing what they did to acquire these apartments. And so that's what we did. It was a Friday through Sunday, I think. We came home that Tuesday following the event. He and I had a meeting. We got a list of multifamily owners. We started calling that week. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, Jamiel ended up talking to the owner of the property that we ended up buying, which was a 52 unit in a Class A neighborhood right outside of Detroit, Michigan. So that's like a long story, not as long. Obviously, there's a lot more details in regards to that. But that's really how it happened. Like, we really got a list and start calling, and we end up getting the deal. So I don't know how in depth you want us to go right now, but that's pretty much how it happened.
Got it. Yeah, let's get into it. Love to hear. I know you mentioned, by the end of the weekend, by the end of the conference, you both were like, I'm ready to go. Jamiel, tell us some more about that. Just at that moment, knowing, you know what, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I think what made it really good, like the reason why we felt that way is because people were giving like real explanation on how they did it and almost telling us how we can do it. I think that's what's empowering. They're like, "Oh, how many houses you guys has? How many what you guys can do?" They're like, "Oh, all you gotta do is X, Y, and Z, and you'll get a house just like that." It made it seem so easy and simple. So, you got guys pulling money from their M1 finance account, right, to put a down payment on a home. You got people, sending out like thousands of mailers every month, right? You got people taking out a loan to buy equipment to send out mailers faster. You got people sending that got a lead for apartment and they're sending an actual mailbox, not like a real mailbox, like going to Home Depot, like buying a mailbox, then putting a card in that mailbox, like, hey, hopefully you got this card, through the big mailbox and like sending it to the owner's home so they can get in front of them. And they're just doing things that, a lot of real estate investors just aren't doing, right? Getting multifamily deals is necessarily easy. So they're showing the steps how they're getting it. They're showing how they're raising money. They're telling you how they was able to raise money and attract people that would want to invest with them. And they're just going through so many different scenarios about, oh, I got a wraparound mortgage on my single family homes, or I sold one, cashed out this one, got 3 investors. And it's just, the conversation was like this the whole day. Imagine we're there for 2-3 days and that's all we're talking about is real estate. So after like Eric said, after like a day or two, like, oh yeah, we know what we gotta do. It was like, we got it. We know what we gotta do. We gotta get this list. We gotta hit these calls. We know if we hit the calls, we can have somebody that's gonna do a deal with us. And that's kind of what happened. So when we touched down back to Detroit, me and him linked up and we was like, right then there was like, all right, how are we gonna find the list? And Eric was like, call your mans. I'm like, who? He like, man, your man, he got a list. Like he said he look out for you for a list as long as you hit him up. I was like, all right. So I literally just picked up my phone and just called him like, hey, can you get a list of these cities in Michigan? He was like, yeah, I'll get it to you by the end of the day. Boom. Now Eric's like, all right, what day we gonna call? I'm like, I got Saturdays available. All right, we're in the next Saturday. It was literally like step by step by step, but just every problem we see, we're just trying to find a solution for it, right? So that's kind of how that went.
Got you. And what I really love about that is you got the information and you pretty much immediately took action. Y'all met, you're like, this is what we're gonna do. And you just started from there. So we haven't even gotten to like getting the property. But what I really want people to take from that is, you can take in all the information you want. You can listen to this episode right here. And if this is what you want to do, like you need to do something with the information. We're not saying, go buy a 100-unit apartment building after you hear this episode, but you can do something to take a step further to buying a property or doing whatever it is you want to do within this real estate business. So I really think it's great that y'all didn't take so much time to make things happen and to take the first step.
Yeah, for sure.
There was literally no time.
Yeah, no, it was literally that week. I will say though, I think
it was that day. Wasn't it? I'm sorry, Coach. Wasn't it? We got off the plane. Wasn't it the next day? I know for a fact because I had to work.
I know it was Tuesday, and if we got, I think
we got home Monday.
Yeah. I think we did come home Monday.
And next day Tuesday we was going.
I don't know if that. I don't know if that's because we had already done stuff that it made us. Because if when you're at these real estate meetings or you're in these networking environments, a lot of times people will say like, I'll give you everything. I know, 90% of you aren't going to do anything with it. So that we might have just been in that mindset, just the 10%. But yeah, that was really like, all right, well, we know we've done certain things in single family. And if they're telling us that they've done this in the multifamily space, all right, let's just go do it. It does provide a certain level of confidence when you are around those people and you've already kind of established something. Even if you haven't, just being around the people and how realistic the stuff that they're telling you that they're doing, it does make you just say, all right, well, let's just go ahead and do it.
Definitely. So talk to us about what the process was like looking for a property. Was it similar to, when you're looking for single up to 4 units? Was the process a lot different looking for a larger property?
Yes, for sure. And I'll be honest, Jamiel, because I wasn't, he kind of helped me refine my thoughts on where we were going to look for these. Like, because he had worked, well, I'll let you tell it, Jamiel. You kind of give your reason as to why we focused on a certain number, why we didn't focus on a certain area.
Yeah. I think so. Yes, it was different because I had a little bit of experience prior. So before this event before Eric joined this mastermind, his multifamily mastermind group, I was part of like that same group, maybe say a couple of years before, right? And it wasn't as like big as it is now. It was just maybe a handful of people. So at that time, I was cold calling for free. Like I was like my thing was like our I guess deal was, hey, you cold call for free, I'm gonna give you percentage in the deal, right? Of the multifamily deal if you get an interested seller. So I was already making calls in Atlanta and Texas and North Carolina, right? I'm already making these calls almost every other day. I'm making calls. So during that time, I was able to pick up information of like what went good and what went bad. So fast forward a couple years afterwards, me and Eric sitting down, right? We're trying to figure out like what's the next step? Like what kind of list do we get? How do we start searching for properties? I already kind of had a general idea. So when me and Eric's going over it, I'm like, hey, listen, we got to think about what the investors want to see, not necessarily what we want to see. Because what me and Eric want to see personally, and he can probably agree, is we want to be in our communities investing in like our homes, right? We want to be in Detroit. We want to be, obviously close to downtown school. We will be in our own neighborhoods, like, right? Like, we're okay with that. But starting off, though, until we can raise the kind of capital we need, until we get to certain kind of investors to see our vision, we probably have to stay in an area where a lot of people are open to deploying their money in. So I know that a lot of people are looking for 50 and 30 and up units for the most part, and not in certain areas, such as in Detroit, because Detroit, even to this day, has a slight reputation of just certain things, right? It's an uneasy market for a lot of investors, right? Especially when you're talking about out of state. They may respect Detroit and see that it's coming up, but it's still uneasy when you're talking about parking $100,000, $200,000 in that area to invest, right? So I said, hey, listen, let's not do Detroit at all. Let's not do, a few other cities. Let's focus on everything between, let's say, 20 and 80 units, because I know once you get past 80 units, you actually going to start speaking to assistants, right? And we don't want that. We want to start speaking to the actual owners of these properties. So when you start adding all those different things, just my prior knowledge of doing this, we was able to refine this list so we can actually have a decent contact rate. So we actually can have a chance to get a property. So that's kind of how me and Eric kind of had our, like the way we kind of figured it out, and it kind of worked on our favor.
Got you. And can you tell us more about, you're making all the calls, like what was that conversation like when you finally reached the seller for the property that you and the team ended up closing on?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm gonna give you the secret sauce. This is how it went. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it went. You ready?
I'm
Just for you,
ready.
just for you guys as viewers. All right, here we go. I call him, right? So first of all, I call him. We're making calls. I call him. He answers. He says, hello. This is literally what I said. I said, hey, this is Jamiel. I'm actually a investor here in Detroit. I'm actually looking to purchase a property in your purchase this property in XYZ address. I got some investors that's looking to do a 1031 exchange. We're trying to use that money to buy another property. So, I'm just trying to see if you're interested in buying. And then he said yes. And then I muted the phone. I screamed to Eric. I said, yo, we got a deal, I think. And once again, I don't even know if we got a deal or not. I'm just so excited somebody said yes. Eric like stops what he's doing. He look at me. I put him on speakerphone. And then I don't even know what to say after that, because once again, I never made it that far before. So I'm just like, all right, let me get your email address. Like, I'm just trying to get anything I can. Can you tell me a little bit about the property? Just trying to get as much as I can. And I figure that he tells me a little basic information, right? I get his email address, and then I come back around with just pretty much just going back to, like, I guess a mentor session that's done it before, it kind of fill in the blanks as far as what I need from him. But I was just so excited, man. I just asked him, was he ready to sell, that I just was like, let's do this thing, man. What's your email? Can you tell me about the property? I tried to act like I knew what I was talking about. I really didn't. And then after that, that's when the learning process started. Once that yes came, that's when the learning process started, because now we got to actually start doing stuff, right? We got the interested person.
Got it. And so you got the interested person, and you're like, all right, we gaining some momentum. I'd love to hear both of your perspectives on what happened next and what the steps were like from that point.
So so Jamiel knew a lot of the he had cold called before in terms of multifamily. So he had like a certain skill set when it came to that. I was into the more of the analyzing and the numbers, and I had been through some of the classes within the real estate program. So I kind of knew like how to gauge or to gather information. So basically we just combined those skill sets with him talking to the person, me kind of having the insight on knowing, what we should ask for in terms of documents and what their responses are. So once I don't even know if we had the document. No, we did. So Jamiel he's having a conversation. So we're gathering these documents over, I don't know, maybe a week or two span. Once we had those documents, we started underwriting the deals ourselves. We started trying to basically analyze it to see if it was a deal, which I had never done before. I don't think Jamiel had done it either. So at that point, we was like, all right, let's bring in someone who we can at least leverage to help us with. So originally we reached out to the group. We had met another guy. He's actually out in Cali, Jeremy. We had met him, and he was very good at underwriting. So we reached out to him initially to have him help us underwrite something. And then after we did that, we then took the documents that we had, and then I reached out to the group specifically to say, hey, I got this deal in such and such area. If anyone can help us underwrite it, please let me know. And so David, who's the owner of the group, who Jamiel knows, who I knew, but then I'm also in the group, he messaged me and said, hey, I would help you guys. I might also be interested in partnering with you. So then that's how that came together. So once he said that, I think we put an email together, sent him the email. Then all three of us, we got on a call, and then we went through the deal preliminary, like kind of on a preliminary basis, just to see if it was a deal. And David, he's seasoned now, so he's bought things, he's sold things, he has a lot of stuff going on. So when he started talking about, this, like the way he was talking, it was almost too good to be true, because he was saying like, I think this is a good deal, like a really, really good deal. Like even at the asking price of the owner, he felt that it was a good deal. So we basically just took from the conversation, we tried to underwrite it to the best of our abilities, and then we reached out to the group, and we ended up underwriting it with the owner of the group, who, like I said, we already had a relationship with. But and I'll say this, I knew, or at least I had I figured that he would be interested in this deal, because I knew it's in his market. Like he's from the area, he's invested in those areas before. So when I put that out, I figured that he would be interested, but didn't know for sure. But yeah, so he said that he was interested, and we started underwriting with him.
Got it. Can you explain what underwriting is for those who may not know?
Jamiel, you want to?
Go ahead. You in a groove, man. You on fire.
So underwriting is basically like you are looking at the financials, or like the pro forma of the deal. So you're looking at usually the standard documents that you're going to use is a T12, which is what they call a trailing 12. It lists out over a 12-month span all the expenses, all the income for the property. And then also you'll want to get what they call a rent roll, which that will actually usually will be a detailed list of all the leases, the tenants, how much their security deposit was, how much the rent is, if they're paying utilities, if they have a pet fee. It's more so the specifics in terms of the tenant base. So you'll look at those two documents to come up, and then you'll start plugging those numbers in to see, hey, is this a good deal? Is there, like, in our situation, or a lot of things that we're looking for value add situations, which are properties that we can buy that are below market value, that we can then add value to them and then either refinance or sell at market value after we do things that will either increase income or decrease expenses. So that's like a value add situation. So you'll get those two documents to basically analyze the deal, which is underwrite the deal to determine if it's a good deal or not.
Got it. And when it comes to like large deals like this, so right, like a single family or something, right? It's cash flow, right? You're looking at the cash flow. Does it cash flow? Now with something as large as like 50 plus units, is it that simple, or are some of the factors you mentioned things you take into account? Is it more than just the cash flow that you consider, or after repair value or something? Is it different things that you consider at that size?
Yeah, so not always, no, because like I say, in situations when it's a value add, that the owner is not getting the cash flow that they should be getting. It could be because they're not charging market rent. It could be because they don't have a laundry facility and they're not able to increase income coming into the property as well as the rents. It could be that their loan is at a 6, 7, 8% rate, and you can get it at a 3.5 or 4 or 5, 5. There could be a lot of different factors that will allow you to increase income or decrease expenses that will create what you want for your cash flow. I don't know. And a lot of times, like I hear these conversations about that. In single family, people are really focused on cash flow. In multifamily, I feel people are more so focused on the appreciation of the actual property.
Yeah.
Being able to buy it at a certain level, because that's where you make your money typically, is when you refi or you sell the property. The cash flow is good, but you really make your money when it's time to refi or when it's time to sell it. So
and then on top of that, Eric, just to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
No, I was going to just say it's also a business too. I think that's another thing so it's like the two other things that's like, I guess what makes it different is, one, obviously everybody looks for cash flow. That's any business looks for cash flow, right? Single family, you gotta look for cash flow. But like you said, in multifamily, it's really a business. Like it actually is like a real business. So that's why we got to pull a trailing 12. That's why we have these certain underwriting numbers. And then when you start bringing in investors, you really got to know not only cash flow, like what's the ROI, right? What's the cap rate? What's the like, is they're looking at more numbers because there's usually investors with you. Usually you may be getting money from them, and then it is operating like a business. So that's why we're looking for value add, because just like any business, you want to make the business more, more valuable, or to make the business worth more, is you got to increase the income and decrease the expenses, right? So it's not like a single family home where we're hoping for the market to make our properties higher, right? So like when the last 3 years, the market has jumped dramatically higher, right? Because of just supply and demand, right? That's pretty simple. In multifamily, you can literally overnight, not literally, but so to speak, over time, just make the property, aka the business, worth more, simply because you make the numbers, because you increase the income and decrease the expenses. So like you actually have so much more control over multifamily property because it's treated like a business where you can kind of run it like one, and it's not going to really be hindrance on what the market conditions are as much as a single family.
Got it. So definitely sounds like a different way of seeing it. So, you get through all the paperwork, get through all the due diligence, talking to the investor, the team, and so forth. And you get to the day where everything is done and you all own the property. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about just getting to that point and, really what it felt like, because it started when we started a long time ago, but, the most recent event is you went to this conference, to this mastermind, and you're like, we got to make this happen. So when you finally did make it happen, we'd love to take me to that day.
I don't know about Eric, man. It still don't feel right to this day. I'll say this, like the day, I'm not even trying to be funny. I swear, like the day we closed, I think first of all, I'm gonna let Eric tell his part. On first of all, this is like the smoothest transaction I've done, which is kind of crazy because me and Eric have done multiple deals by ourselves together, different things. And this was just like one of the smoothest transactions we had, which was crazy in itself. But the other part was like leading up to that week, I swear Eric was like, I don't want to hear nothing until it's closed. So like, because Eric had that, like, like, I want to make sure this is like good. I kind of like suppressed my not like in a bad way. I just like held in my excitement. And then once we closed, I was still like, all right, I'm gonna get a few more days to make sure this is real. And then it finally became real. Then like we got to work right away. So I feel like I don't know if we did anything, but I just feel like we got right to work. And it's just like since ever then. But I felt like I tried to be excited, but it was just such a monumental thing. I was kind of speechless for a while. But now it's just like business. Now I'm just kind of focused on the next one. But at that moment, it was like just a weird feeling through it.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's still surreal. It's almost still like it's not something that's real. Surreal. It's because I don't know. It's just when you think about, and one of the reasons why we created the brand is because of that. It was like we didn't think that we would say that we're owners of a 52 unit apartment building in a Class A neighborhood right outside of Detroit. That's not something that we thought. At least I didn't think that. There was always the plan to own some, apartments, but never thought it would be like this. And leading up to it, I've dealt with so much stuff in single family. I was like, until it's closed, it's not closed. Like I just, and then like Jamiel said, it was moving so smooth throughout the process. I was like, you know that it's too good to be true type of feeling. It was like that. It was like, this is moving way too smooth. Like literally what we talked about, going to the meeting, coming home, cold calling 2 or 3 weeks later, getting a phone call from the guy who owns it. A week or two later, getting on the call, we're underwriting it. And then 2 weeks or so after that, we have a purchase agreement signed. And then we're doing inspections and, surveys and, all kinds of things. Like just the process was like, and then to think like this, we purchased this apartment building for $5.6 million. Like just all that combined, like how it came about and how it's closed, like it was just surreal. And like I say, I honestly didn't feel like it would move that smoothly. And then the day of, I was in Chicago. I was literally in Chicago and I got the email that everything was closed. And I just stopped like, is this real? And I hadn't heard from Jamiel. So I had to call him like, bro, did we actually close this? And he's like in the same type of just kind of disbelief. Like, honestly, I cannot explain it. It still feels surreal to me. Like I still don't, like I'll be in just mid conversation with people and we'll be talking about different things. Like, don't you own an apartment? I was like, oh yeah, I do. Like, it's still like like I said, it's no way to describe it other than just being surreal, honestly. Just surreal.
Amazing.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate?
Yeah.
Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance?
You know who it is?
The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the number one place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
And so with deals of this size, like you have to have like a on-site property manager. Is that right?
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and honestly, and that's the benefit of multifamily. It's like you need a team of people. Like Jamiel and I, we're asset managing it. So we're handling, certain things within the rehab, particularly on the exterior of the apartment buildings. Then we have another guy that's kind of managing like the interior rehabs of the actual units. And we got another guy that's, he's like kind of above everything in terms of like he oversees it and he's the person that handles all the financials. Then we got other member that kind of sources other things and builds the relationships with the property managers. So it's like and then on top of that, we have just capital partners that are just, they're strictly just passive in the deal. So that's like the beauty of multifamily, honestly, is that it's usually a team of people, and it's a way that everyone can get to a common goal. And you just figure out what role you can play to make sure that you benefit the team. So, yeah.
Definitely. And what's it been like for you two, just managing that part of it? Like, I think you mentioned the exterior rehab. Like, what's that been like, especially on something of this size, right? I mean, I'm sure you've done countless like 1 to 4 units, but what is it like, managing that for something of this size?
It's crazy even that's going pretty good. I mean, I think like the fire thing about, like you said, about multifamily, I realizing it forces you to play, especially for me, not so much Eric. If you ever look at Eric's like rehabs, they're flawless, right? I'm like a guy that I'm trying to save every penny kind of guy. And I'm trying to like, I'm trying, like, especially in Detroit, man, I'm trying to like finagle everything, right? So when you go to multifamily, you can't do any of that, right? You need like people got to be licensed and bonded and insured. You need like, you want to have people that's done a lot of work. So I'm working with very high level contractors or people that specialize in things versus like my handy guy that kind of could, that say he know plumbing, but he ain't really a plumber, but I got him for a good price. I'm gonna have him work on my little single family home in Detroit, right? Which works, but when you're talking multifamily, you're getting these bigger companies, right? You're working with these big companies that have system and process and licensed insurers and experience, and they do things the right way. And if things don't go wrong, you have somebody you can talk to. It's just a totally different experience. So it's been going good because I feel like we're working with people that that can take on a 52 unit apartment, right? You can't get, your cousin Jojo and them to do everything in that apartment, right? You got to get the big boys out. So what that does is it's a little bit more, it's just a more well-oiled machine when you talk in regards to actually the asset management. So it's been going good. It's a lot of learning, right? Like I don't know about Eric, but I never have to do like asphalt much, right? I don't have to, like we're getting, a parking lot redid. Like I never had to do that in my single family homes, right? So it's some differences, obviously, or just it's a flat roof versus like a typical like a peak roof, whatever you want to call it. So there's obviously differences, and I learned a lot, and Eric as well. We both learned a lot through it. So there's differences, but I think the biggest thing is just the type of the companies you're working with versus like maybe you would in a single family home, right? I'm not out there, right, at all. Like I'm doing everything from my cell phone, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely I think like being that we're not self-managing, we have a property manager, so they handle a lot of the stuff that is real tedious and the more of the like the squeaky wheels type of thing, and we're just managing contractors. And although you do deal with more like a lot of times, like in single family, you might deal with contractors that only take cash, or they don't have like a billing system, or they don't have invoices, or that type of, they don't do contracts. Whereas a lot of times with multifamily commercial, you will see that, but some of it is the same. Like some of them still just don't operate the same way, but it's just, I don't know. It's just you. I think you do come across a different caliber of contractor when they're used to working with multifamily investors versus a single family, for sure. So it is a lot easier. Like, so we're not hands on with a lot of stuff. Like, we're coordinating calls, and that's pretty much it.
Got it. So, Monopoly Bros, talk to us about the brand and just coming together to start it. Like, is this something that started after this apartment deal? Is it something that started before? And yeah, tell us all about it.
When was Atlanta afterwards, Eric? After the apartment deal?
No, it was in the middle of it.
It was in the middle of, okay. So okay, got you. So yeah, right. So I think it started with, honestly, that event. I think me and Eric really realized that we need to like like we need to come together, use both our powers to make something big. And that's on a like apartment level, real estate level, also on the brand side. So it started back way into the event. So when August came, I think me and Eric we flew out to Atlanta for another like real estate event. And I think we because we were together a lot during that event, we got a lot of time to talk about like what do we want to, like what do we see ourselves as far as like us two teaming together? Like, should this be a brand? Should this be strictly just raising money? Like, and we kind of figured like we kind of knock out a few things at once. So during that event, we're coming with like a bunch of different names that we did not like at all. And then, after we closed this apartment building, I don't know how exactly it went, but I was telling Eric, like, man, what we doing is something very this is something that's just is different. Like, we both, if anybody really know our story, like we both started off with a single family home in the hood. Like, I started off, my first house was a $10,000 house on the west side of Detroit. Eric, you pay how much for $1,000 in the auction for your home in Detroit?
Yep.
Yeah, and so you think about that, and then that's like 2015, 2016, then we both start wholesaling, right? And then I began to house hack. So I got a duplex. And then Eric's buying buying more single family and duplexes. I'm buying another couple single family homes. And then we begin flipping, right? And then we do all those different things, and then we actually go out there and buy an apartment building. So I was thinking, I was just thinking one day, and I called Eric. I'm like, man, we out here playing Monopoly, bro. I think I called him. Like, we playing Monopoly out here, bro. Like, we literally start with one house, just like you were playing Monopoly. Then got a duplex and and then got a apartment. We're playing real life Monopoly. Like, this ain't no game. This ain't no like this. We really doing it. And I was like, man, we should call ourselves like Monopoly. I don't know. I made it some crazy name, and then Eric like, I don't know about that, and we started kind of playing with this word Monopoly till I think he came with the bros part, I believe, or like because he feel like, man, we like brothers, like we really brothers for real. So I don't know if I want to add on to that, Eric, but I think that's kind of how like that story kind of came about.
No, that's literally how it came about. And yeah, he had actually texted me and just said Monopoly, and I just responded brothers, like, just because it
That's
was
what.
like we were already operating as brothers, like in the sense of that, and then we eventually just changed it to bros. But yeah, and then like honestly, to look back, like we've been partnering since our first home. Like, he had a home not too far from where I bought my first home, and we were partnering then. We were sharing resources and tools and leases back in 2016. And then we did wholesale deals together off a handshake in 2017, 2018. So we were already operating as partners anyway. And then, like I say, the apartment stuff came about, and he and I are very like-minded when it comes to that. And then we synergy between the two of us is like it's like outside of business. I can call Jamiel and like, bro, I'm about to watch this this battle tonight. You coming up, like, and we can have a time and do the outside of real estate. So it was a lot of things that made it just make perfect sense to just do it. And then like you said, when he started talking about like, you know, we're playing Monopoly, because technically we are. It's like you get 4 houses and then you trade those in and then you get a hotel. And that's like, we had 4 houses and we traded them in and got a hotel. So it just, and then like say the more so the thought behind, we didn't do anything extravagant to do it. Like we're not trust fund babies. We didn't have, you know, someone giving us anything. We literally took the stairs to get to this point. So why not reach back and help those who are in similar situations? Because it's a lot of people that come from that type of, like, nothing was given to us. So that means anybody can do it. So why not build a brand to talk about that and show that?
Definitely. And, you know, what I really appreciate and what, you know, is so inspiring is to see 2 people who look like us work together, because, you know, a lot of times many people in our community don't want to work together. And if you can find the right partnership, it can really take things to the next level, right? I'm pretty sure this deal wouldn't have happened, or maybe it would have taken a lot longer if it was one of you trying to do it yourself with the group and so forth. However, throughout this whole story, you've talked about just the different strengths you 2 came with and the different things you bought to making this deal happen for you and the whole team. So, you know, I think it's powerful that you 2 are working together to bring the things forward. And, you know, I would love to hear more about just some of the goals that you 2 have for the Monopoly Bros.
Yeah, I'll kind of start us off a little bit. I guess on the brand side, our goal is to make a community, right? Because like there's people right now that are listening to this that wholesale. There's people like right now that has a duplex, that's house hacking, or it has maybe one single family home. And I think a lot of people do have aspirations for multifamily. They're just not sure how to get there, right? They're just not quite sure, right? And we want to build a community where we can educate people on how to do that. And then also educate people on what they're doing right now. Like me and Eric, we wholesale. We still do flips. We still have single family homes. So like we can help you out in that facet. And then as you're kind of like getting better, we can actually then hopefully help you or be support or show you how we did it, or, you know, help you underwrite or whatever case may be, through as a community way to help you actually start buying apartment buildings, right? So on a brand side, I think that's like one of our biggest goals is like you said, unfortunately, we don't see a lot of people like us partnering together, right? Especially 2 men, right? Black men at that. And I think that's one of our driving forces of making sure we do this the right way. And our brand is like really represented in doing the right things. And I'll kind of let Eric maybe touch on like our goals as far as like raising money and different things as far as like buying apartments.
Yeah. So short term is we're looking to add 150 units this year.
Wow.
And again, that kind of stems from just, obviously you do one deal, you get 50 units. Average, you can do 3 deals and do, you know, get 150, or you can do 1 deal and get 150. So it's just mindset shift to say, if we can do 52, we can do 150. And then just especially just surrounding yourself with those people and constantly being reminded that it's tangible. Yeah, so 150 doors for sure. We're definitely looking to get into the raising capital. Like I say, this is a team sport. It's a team sport. We can't go out and buy a $5.6 million property, the 2 of us. So definitely looking to be able to bring on people to get into deals with us. And that feeds back into just that building that community and building that trust factor, that, you know, we're not looking to just take your money and make money off of your money. Like our goal is to always be a practitioner and actually be acquiring properties. Like we want to be in the deals with you. Like, and if we can align the two of those, whereas we're constantly purchasing more deals, but then we're also being able to show individuals that, oh no, these two, like Eric and Jamiel, they're legit. Like, they are actually out there walking apartment buildings, you know, cold calling. They're acquiring these deals, and the deals that they might be looking, and we're not even going to be positioning it like we're looking for money. It's more so like we have an opportunity that we want you to be a part of, that you can benefit from. And if you want to do it, you do. If not, you don't. But at least the individuals who do get in the deals with us, they'll know that, no, they're actually, you know, they're not just looking to make money off our money. They're actually in the deals with us. So that's like the community side of things, being able to educate people and bring them along on our journey. If they want to go and buy, you know, single family home, they want to buy and flip, they want to wholesale, they want to buy and hold, or they want to buy apartments. Also being able to raise the capital to, you know, continue to buy more apartment buildings, because that's what we're in it for. We're honestly looking to build our portfolio.
Definitely. And, you know, what I like so much about that is, you know, I think about, you know, this show, right? We have over 100 episodes, far less than 10 guests have gotten into the large multifamily space. So I really think it's great that you two started the Monopoly Bros, because not only, as you mentioned, you'll be able to help people, you know, start, right, and get through, you know, single duplex and so forth. However, now that y'all have gotten into the large multifamily game, you're only going to get more experience. You're only going to acquire more. You can help more of us and people overall to be involved in that space, because, you know, it seems like something that's not tangible to most of us, right? You know, if you drive past, you know, I mean, a lot of people live in large multifamily properties, but you never think, oh, I could own something like this one day. Or, you know, you don't drive past the 50-unit apartment complex, and it's not even a thought that comes to your mind because it's so out of reach in many cases. So, you know, I think it's great that you two started with you started with something that's so relatable to most people. And now you're in a large multifamily space, and you'll be able to help people get there too. So I think it's great that you two not only invested, but you decided to start a brand to show other people what's possible.
Yeah, no, that's literally the whole reasoning behind the brand. It's like we started with a single family home. So that means you can start with a single family home. You don't have to just jump. If you do, that's perfectly fine. But again, you can quote unquote take the stairs and get to this point. And in all honesty, I feel like that is more beneficial because you kind of learn a lot, like that process of going from buying a single family rental to wholesaling to buying and flipping to buying more single family rentals to buying a duplex, and then getting into this. You have a wealth. It just positions you completely different when you're having conversations with apartment owners, or if you're in a meeting with, you know, people who are looking to you know, raise capital with. It provides a certain sense of like confidence and legitimacy, like for yourself. So no, that's 100% why we created the brand, honestly.
Definitely. And I would love to hear from both of you. Eric, of course, we spoke on the podcast a couple of years ago, and I'm sure we discussed Detroit market and what's happening. I'm sure a whole lot more has happened in the last 2 years. So we'll just love to hear both of your perspectives on what's happening in the Detroit market, real estate wise, what's changes or have happened in the city, what's coming down the pipeline. I mean, Detroit, you know, a lot of people have been talking about investing there over the years. So just would love to get a temperature check on what's happening.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just say this one thing, and I'll let Jamiel talk about the market. So we did our podcast in 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So
like maybe around this time.
2020 this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, just one house that I own, that house was probably worth 50, 60 grand in 2020. I could sell it right now for like 130.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
My goodness.
That's just one area. It's other areas that, you know, it's way further than that. But yeah, I mean, obviously we know across, you know, the United States, the real estate market is just booming. But yeah, it's here too.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like it's getting to the point where I'm even loosening up on like my thoughts. Like I'm starting to even be like, man, maybe we do need to take a look at some multifamily in Detroit, right? Because if you remember what I said earlier, like it's a tough market, but for investors, but I think it is growing so fast, and like just pricing and people trying to move back to the city, and businesses coming and things like that, that is getting to the point where like, I think me and Eric are definitely kind of looking a little bit more close in Detroit market even for multifamily than maybe we were just a year ago. So I think what happens in the market when it's at a time like this is that homes are at a price point now that you can, you know, it's easy, that's like loan prices, right? You're talking about, you're getting homes above 80,000, you buy more homes in that price range. So it's easier to find, loans to get those homes, and it's less of the, $1,000 homes that Eric got back in 2015. That's very hard to find. It still could happen, obviously, just harder. And then on the other side too, like people don't talk about, and that's because I'm kind of in the space through just what I do, my 9 to 5, is like there's been some programs out where they're really trying to like lower foreclosures. They're really trying to help people stay in their homes, which is a good thing when you're talking about the market, right? And it's a good thing in general. Let me just say it like that. But like the auction, like the total count of tax foreclosure homes has decreased dramatically since a few years ago compared to now. It's crazy that even through everything that's been going on with COVID, it still has decreased an actual total number of foreclosures in Detroit, right? There has been an increase of more grants given so people can get their home fixed and different things like that. So when you add up like all like those different things, and then just the natural occurrence of just kind of the rising market and home values, Detroit is definitely has been hot, to say the least.
The best part about it is we haven't caught up with the average of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We're still behind in terms of home values. So it's still a lot of growth here. And it's still one of, obviously the Midwest is just, you invest in the Midwest, it's just, it's the cash flow here is just, it's ridiculous. And it's even better now because, rents are increasing just as much as home value. So what you could have rented a few years ago in Detroit is not the standard. That 700 to 800 for a decent neighborhood is just not the standard no more. Now it's 900. Now it's $1,000 for a 3-bedroom house when it used to be 750.
Right. Definitely. Man, so what is one piece of advice each of you would give to somebody who, maybe maybe they have a few homes, maybe they have one, maybe they haven't started at all, but they want to get into the real estate game, they want to invest, but they don't know where to begin. What is one thing you would say to that person who might even be a little bit scared, but they're just like, this stuff sounds interesting, I'm listening to all this information, I just don't know how to take the first step. What would you say to that person?
Follow the Monopoly Bros at monopoly.bros on. No, I'm joking. I think
I love
the
that.
first step.
No, that was a great plug, man. Come on.
You like how I did that?
I love that.
Monopoly.bros. That's the first thing you do. The second first thing you do is I really think through this the mindset changed for us. So another thing about the brand that I want to bring up, because I think it goes to this, is that in order to get the apartment, you got to take the next step, right? A lot of people, and even like right now in this, social media culture, everybody wants to jump from beginner to owning 100 units. And when you really understand our brand and who we are, you understood that Eric had to start with that $1,000 house. I had to start that $10,000 house in the hood to get to where I'm at now. So I think you have to be very intentional on just the next step in a progressionary way. So if you've never done a deal, right, I would think about, one, what's your end goal? And then like, what's the first step to do it, right? So obviously, yeah, as crazy as it may be, it should be following myself and listen to these podcasts, right? That's like education is obviously the first thing. Then after that is like, all right, I got to take some action. So what does taking action mean? Well, if you're going to start off maybe wholesaling, or maybe starting off trying to get a flip, or maybe buying your first property, you should probably start playing some offense. That's what you'll hear me and Eric say that a lot. If you guys follow, is playing some offense. Maybe you should start cold calling. Maybe you should start sending out mailers. Maybe you should start door knocking. Maybe you should start, doing a text blast, right? So now you start thinking like that. Okay, now how do I cold call? Well, I need a script. Where can you find a script at? Oh, where are you? What kind of phone do I use? Right. So you can start when you start retaking it inch by inch and just go step by step by step. Next thing you know, you kind of wake up and you're in Chicago, Eric, and you got 52 units, and then he calls me, and I'm in the city in Detroit, and I'm just like, bro, this ain't real. But every single thing was a small step in the right direction, actually in a progressionary direction that's going up. So start with the end goal, work your way backwards, and then work your way back forward once you kind of figure that out, and ask a lot of questions throughout that process too.
Yeah, and I would have said honestly the same thing. Is like I'm real big on mindset, and just really investing in yourself first, and whatever it is you're trying to do, make sure that you're aligned in whatever it is that you're trying to do. But honestly, you just got to look at it like if you're trying to, if you're trying to play basketball, if you're trying to be on the back, you're gonna pick up a ball, start dribbling, trying to figure out. You're gonna, when you're driving down the street, your attention is gonna be like you'll see basketball rims, you'll see parks where people are playing basketball. You'll say, "Oh, I need a rim." You'll try to figure out how you get a rim or how can you make a rim. You'll start asking your parents to take you to a basketball camp. It's like whatever it is that you're trying to do, you got to really start aligning your mindset with that, and then just start really just like really immerse yourself into that space. So like I outside of the mindset, start going to networking meetings, listen to podcasts, read books, and then not only that, start taking action. Like don't get too caught up in that. I watched this podcast, I read this book, I did, like, you also need to start doing and applying the stuff that you're learning. Because honestly, look at what we did at the networking meetup. We went to the networking meeting, so we saw something and we were getting into multifamily. How do I get? And that's the perfect thing. Like us getting into multifamily. What did I do? I joined a multifamily mastermind group. Did that. They had an event. I went to the multifamily event. At the event, I'm networking with individuals. I didn't sit at the back. I didn't wait for people to come up to me. I'm at every single thing. I'm introducing myself. I'm telling people what I do. I'm asking them what they do and how they got to where they're at. You start asking these questions, and then what do? We come home and we start applying what we learned in this networking group. So those are literally the steps. Like there is no secret. Like there is no like master. Like it is literally you put yourself out there and start surrounding yourself with what you're trying to do, and then you take action on it. And then always be constantly focusing on professional development and also the training that you need for what you're trying to do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And where can people follow you to individually, as well as Monopoly Bros? Keep what you have going on, purchase the merch. Like where can people tap into everything?
Yeah, for sure. So on Instagram is monopoly.bros. The person that stole Monopoly Bros, they're not giving us the name. So I gotta go talk to some people to figure out how we can get the name. But it's monopoly.bros on Instagram. Twitter is a monopoly_bros_. As far I'm be honest with you, I'm not been on my personal as much. Like my whole focus is the Monopoly Bros page, honestly, but it's just my name, Jamiel Strickland. And when it comes to the merch, we do have that. So it's just monopolibros.com. You go to shop, you can buy the merch. If you're in Detroit or in Michigan, we have free meetups that we do. We're going to do a property tour in another couple months. We're going to actually walk through one of the flips that's going on. And then eventually we're going to start having certain like type mastermind community-based things as well, where people can be a part of. And I'm going to say one last thing. I know we got to get out of here, but I was thinking when Eric was talking is like, I remember, by the way, none of this was free. So I want to get that, like, Eric might not disclose the price, but this mastermind is very expensive. This is not a, $10, just get a ticket, come, right? Like everything costs a lot to get there. And I think sometimes people have been maybe burned by other programs or other people that they don't want to spend money. And I get it, but
let me just cut you off though, real quick though. I mean, it does cost money,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of times you should want to invest some type of capital into your professional development or your training, but it's not something that, especially us as a community, can afford. Like it's doable, especially this mastermind. It's doable where some people pay more than what I'm paying for their car. You know, so it's doable. It does cost some money, but it's very doable in the sense that you should want to invest, but there are companies out there that will charge you way more than what you should be paying. But this in particular is not like, it's something, it does cost, like Jamiel said, and you shouldn't be afraid to spend some money and invest in yourself, but don't let that deter you, because you want to, you know, invest in yourself, because honestly, it for me, it provides a sense of motivation, because I'm spending some money. If it's free, you probably not.
Exactly. 100%. Yep. And Eric hit on the nose. And so, you know, I just like, he pretty much said it, you know, be ready to invest in yourself and really put that money up, because, you know, that is part of the journey as well. So that's where you can find us. You go to monopolibros.com for the merch. Follow our page, monopoly.bros on Instagram. You'll get all the updates for things we do on events, courses, everything that's about to go on. You'll see it on our Instagram page. And, you know, follow the journey. And if you feel like you want to get into real estate, maybe you're already in real estate, like, I think we're the people for you to help you level up and boss up on what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And then also for people who are interested in, or maybe have questions, or they want to get on our newsletter of stuff that we are doing, deals that we'll be sending out in terms of what we're working on, you can always email us at contact@monopolibros.com to join our mailing list, to see what we're working on. And then my personal page is __E Friday.
Love it. Appreciate you two coming on the show. I mean, I think it's just an amazing story, and an inspiration too. And, you know, a lot of tangible tips and you know, people can get some exposure to how deals of this magnitude work and see what's possible if you just start with one house. And so definitely appreciate you two brothers jumping on the show tonight.
Oh no, we appreciate you. We gotta come out to Cali. I'm already in the works.
I know. I got to get out to Detroit sometime too. And I've been wanting to come to Detroit for some time now. So hopefully everything can align and at least you know, one of us can come the other way.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just make sure it's in the summer if you're coming this way.
Yeah, I you know, got love for you too, but I will not be there in the winter, man. I'm from New York, but, you know, I got California bones now. So
I don't blame you.
Definitely. But yeah, definitely appreciate you two again. And thank you to everyone who listened to another episode of the show tonight. Jamiel, I don't know if you wanted to say something.
Nope, I was going to say I appreciate it, man. It's exciting times, man. Glad to be on here, and just appreciate you giving us a place to speak and share our story. Definitely.
Thank you two again. And thank you to everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Definitely make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review. Really do appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Hi, everyone. Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.